and image-based MCQs. Hello? Yes. So the last 20 minutes we are going to discuss on MCQs. Now, so today we are going to start by discussing on thyroid nodules. The last class I told you the pathology and the pathogenesis of goiter. Today we start exclusively on thyroid nodules. The first topic before we start on thyroid nodules, we are going to talk about two investigations. Number one will be an ultrasound of the thyroid, a short note. Number two is something called an X-ray and a CT scan of the thyroid. And finally, before we jump to the nodules, another short note, something called FNAC from the thyroid. So this is something that we'll start the day with. This will be followed by nomenclature of some of the thyroid nodule. Nomenclature of thyroid nodules and a long question on approach to STN, solitary thyroid nodule. So this is what is the target for today. As I have said, the last 20 minutes of the class, I will have kept dedicated to an MCQ. Okay. Now, before I start, I will ask you again, is the screen visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, before I start, I will request you to ask your questions in the break or after the class. When you talk about thyroid investigations, before I start talking about nodules, remember, you are given one rare short note. What are the groups of investigations on thyroid? Now, they can be very broadly divided as investigations to assess the thyroid function. Investigations to assess the thyroid function. That can include blood investigations, which will be TSH, T3, T4, free TSH, sorry, free T3 and free T4. So we will talk about free T3 and free T4. But now, when we talk about in medicine, remember that. So invest or in endocrinology, not in endocrine surgery, they are going to talk about details about what are the various investigations, etc., etc. But for all of you, I will request you to see this simple table and make a small box. Just give me a minute, please. I will request you to make a small box in this. Can you see the box in your screens now? Can you see the box in your screen now? So it is a simple box to be made. In this box, on the x-axis, write TSH. On the y-axis, write FT4 or free thyroxine. Have you written this? Have you completed this? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Have you now kindly complete writing words like low, normal, and high. On this side, write low, normal, and high. So write like this. Have you written this? Can I proceed?
So,
Okay. If you can proceed, this box in middle is something called as euthyroid. You are all very intelligent people. I hope you understand. Euthyroid means, I will take my yellow marker pen. What does euthyroid mean? That means that TSH is normal and T4 is normal. What is this status called as? Euthyroid. Okay, okay, right? Now, if this is euthyroid, now let us talk about this state in which the TSH is low. So let us talk about this box. TSH is low. Sorry, TSH is high. Very sorry on this one. But T4 is low. So what is this state called as? Hypo or hyperthyroidism? This is called as hypothyroidism. And this is due to the low T4. Who makes the T4? Thyroid gland. So this is called as primary. Now, what is a primary disease? The term primary means the pathology is in the gland. So this is a primary disease. So I have drawn the thyroid gland. In this box, I hope you will agree. In this box, what has happened is the thyroid gland is low. Okay. So it is not very good in this. So this is primary hypothyroidism. Now, there are many causes we are not going to discuss. Now tell me, if this is primary hypothyroidism, then what will this box be? This box has low TSH, low T4. So is it hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism? What is your opinion?
Hypothyroidism.
It is hypothyroidism. Bah, very good. And if it is hypothyroidism, why did I say hypo? Why did I say hypo, sir? Because T4 is low. So what type of hypothyroidism is this? TSH, who secretes
Secondary.
TSH? Who secretes TSH? What is this
and
gland?
linear
That
pituitary.
is pituitary. So pituitary secretes TSH. Beautiful, sir. So this is called as secondary hypothyroidism. Okay. Let us come to this box. T4 is high. TSH is low. Now tell me, T4 is high, TSH is low. What is this state? Hypo or hyper?
Hyperthyroidism.
Very good.
Primary
So
hypothyroidism.
T4 is high. So this is
Thyroidism.
hyperthyroidism.
Primary.
And obviously, it is arising from the pathology in the gland. So this is primary. That means it is a disease of the gland, like Graves' disease. Okay. Now let us come to the other end of the box. T4 is high. TSH is high or low in this box? TSH is high or low? In this? High. If the TSH is high, so what do you think is the cause of the high TSH?
Pituitary tumor.
Very good. Is a pituitary tumor. Okay. So if this is a pituitary tumor, this will thus be called as hyperthyroidism.
Secondary hyper.
And it is called as secondary hyperthyroidism. I hope you have written this box. If you have not understood, this is not difficult to understand. Kindly write down this box or take a snapshot, whatever you like to do, because in the break, I will again explain to you this one. Okay. Have you understood or have you written up till this point? If you want to take a snapshot, please do. This is the first basic thing that you should take 5 minutes in writing in your khata. This is an extremely important thing both for surgery and medicine. Okay, can I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, if I can proceed, there are few datas that I want you to remember. Out of all the datas, I am not asking you to remember many things. I only request you to remember two datas. If you are not comfortable with remembering two datas, I will request you to remember only one data, only one numerical. What is the normal level of serum TSH? It is from 0.3 to 5 milli international units per liter. Please remember this. The normal range of TSH is from 0.3 to 5. Or if you want to remember it as 0.5, no issues, it becomes easier. MIU per liter or MU per liter. If you can remember the range of free T4, very good. I do not remember that, but what I am more interested is this point. Job done.
Sir,
Now,
0.3 and 0.5 both are same.
For you, if you want to remember 0.5 to 5, this sounds better, is easy to remember, please do like that. Okay. If it is 0.5 to 5, that's it. I am happy. If you can remember up till this data. So I hope you have taken this table down or you have made this table. So you are writing a short note on thyroid function test and you have made this box like you have done. We will not go to this box again. Has everyone completed this? Can I proceed now?
Yes, sir.
Good. Sir. If I can proceed now, then beyond these tests, remember, to assess thyroid antibodies. Now, thyroid antibodies are important in a couple of disorders of the thyroid, like Graves' disease. Now, in a Graves' disease, the antibody is called as anti-TSH receptor antibody. MCQ, very, very, very important. So this is an important MCQ. What is the antibody in Graves' disease called as? It is usually called as anti-TSH receptor antibody. Okay. Now, it can also be called as long-acting thyroid stimulator. Long-acting thyroid stimulator. Both of these are the same things. The term LATS is used particularly in ophthalmology when you are describing a pathology called as proptosis. I do not know whether you have heard about this term. In a Graves' disease, there is a complication in which the eyeball comes out and the pathogen that is, or the criminal is this. Then in a sorry, in a disease called as Hashimoto thyroiditis, the antibody of concern is anti-thyroid peroxidase and
Thyroglobulin.
anti-microsomes are the two major. Anti-thyroglobulin are of the third importance, because if you see the relative change between these, TPO microsomes are probably a little more important in Hashimoto, but we'll be talking about Hashimoto's pathology, etc., when you talk about thyroiditis. So this is the second group of the test. We have done blood tests, we have talked about antibodies. Now let us talk about the third group. The third group are tumor markers. The third group are tumor markers. Now, when you talk about tumor markers, remember serum levels of calcitonin are increased in a cancer called as medullary thyroid cancer. This has been told in the first class or the second class. Serum calcitonin is increased in this. Have you written up to this?
Yes, sir.
Good. Remember that increase in thyroglobulin in post-operative period after total thyroidectomy for cancer
Relapse.
indicates a relapse, better called as a recurrence or a residual tumor. This again is a very important MCQ. This again is an MCQ that has come maybe 10,000 times by this time. So the tumor markers in thyroid cancers are calcitonin and this. Oh, I really forgot. What kind of cancer we are talking about? We are talking about differentiated thyroid cancer. Means papillary thyroid cancer and follicular thyroid cancer. So these are the tumor markers of interest. Serum calcitonin, increase in thyroglobulin are important. Have you completed up till this? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Good. So if you have completed up till this, you have done about, we are writing a short note on investigations. I'm bad with spellings. And we have done with this one. Fourth one, to assess the iodine uptake. This is not in today's class. And nodule oblique gland activity. Iodine uptake, nodule oblique gland activity. What we are going to do is something called iodine uptake study, or better called as radio iodine uptake study. The isotopes that are used, will not talk about this today, includes iodine 123, iodine 127, 131, and technetium 99M. I will again repeat. To assess the iodine uptake and the nodule or the gland activity, the isotopes that we use includes 123, iodine 131. Technetium is not iodine, but is in the same periodic block around it is a neighbor of that halide block, is something that behaves like chlorine or iodine. And then we use it again for the uptake studies. So we have a technetium 99, we have iodine 123, we have iodine 131. The normal atomic weight of iodine is 127. So this is what is the normal atomic weight of iodine. Have you completed up till this? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Good. So if you have completed up till this, technically enough, your short notes have ended. Then we can proceed to something called as imaging of the thyroid. We can now come to the imaging of the thyroid. Now, when you come to the imaging of the thyroid, then an important imaging consideration starts. So remember that the thyroid is a soft tissue. A few basic things with which you are starting the class with me. For any soft tissue in the human body, the first investigation that we do is usually and ultrasound. Please remember this rule, common rule for your life. If you have a soft tissue, the first investigation is a ultrasound. Okay, right. Those of you who are little bit of good in physics, you must have understood that. I do not know how many of you know that. How do dolphins and bats communicate? Do you have any idea how does a dolphin communicate?
Sir, they emit a sound.
Ultrasonic wave.
with their mouth.
Very
Echolocation.
good.
The sound.
Ultrasonic
Something called
waves
as
works like
echolocation. That
sonar.
means exactly. So what we use is that instead of the dolphin, we use an instrument that generates an ultrasonic wave. Now, ultrasonic waves are those waves which are not heard by human ear. They are beyond the human hearing frequency. But they are not light waves, mind you. They are ultrasound waves. This is exactly like a bat who again roams around in the night. I'm not talking Batman, I'm talking bats. So what does a bat or a dolphin do? The basic idea is that if the sound wave gets across a solid object, what is the fate of the sound wave? The sound wave gets reflected. Okay, so this is, and when it gets reflected, where does the reflection happen? The reflection happens to the source which had generated the sound. That means out of say 10 waveforms, 9 waveforms are returning back. Then what does it mean for the obstacle in front? What is the medium of the obstacle? Understand the point. Out of 10 waveforms, what is returning back is 9. That means what is the waveform in place?
Solid.
It is probably a solid waveform. That means the dhakka that it is getting is solid. However, if some amount of waveform is going down, but it is coming back, say for example, 5 and 5 is going through, what is this waveform means?
Liquid.
Liquid.
Because it is something that it is maybe transmitting the waveform. Or what if that out of 10 waveforms, maybe 1 is coming back and 9 is going through, then what is this waveform?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Now with this working knowledge, this is how a bat or a dolphin again catches a fish, or a bat can go to a fruit. So this is exactly the basic mechanism that we use for something called as an ultrasound in the human body. If you have understood by this way, I'm very happy. The first is to understand the concept. So please remember, the first investigation that we do for a soft tissue is an ultrasound, ultrasound, ultrasound. After an ultrasound, the second line of investigations depends upon the pathology. Okay. If the pathologies are containing calcium, say for example, blood related tissues, we may think about doing a CT scan. If the pathologies are known to contain too much amount of fluid, it is good to think about doing an MRI. But you will not understand this now, but at least write these points. So the first line of investigation for soft tissues, say for example, someone has an abdominal tumor. So what is the first line of investigation that you think?
Ultrasound.
In exactly, sir, it is ultrasound. What is the second line of investigation after the ultrasound? Sir, it depends upon the pathology that is picked up. If you are suspecting a pathology where blood circulation is very more, say for example, it is a pathology of the aorta, blood vessel. So what is the next investigation that we do? CT scan. CT scan, sir. If it is blood related something, or if it is a cancer, tumor, where you feel blood is more, so go for a CT. But if you feel it is a disease where there is too much amount of liquid in the abdomen, maybe an MRI is a better option. But we'll not talk about this today. We come to thyroid again. So now with this knowledge about a thyroid ultrasound, now let us understand what is a thyroid ultrasound. Now to do an ultrasound, this comes as your MCQ in radiology. So the ultrasound machine, please understand the design of an ultrasound machine. I am not going to the technical details. You are all very intelligent people. You know what is this technical details going to be. The basic thing is that this ultrasound machine contains a crystal which is called as piezoelectric crystal. I think you have heard the name of this piezoelectric crystal. MCQ again. What is the piezoelectric material that is used to make an ultrasound? Came in your joint and trans MCQs are salts of zirconate. Okay. Some people use silica also. We are not physics guys. Okay, but we are now. So what is so special about this zirconate? Now the zirconate thing is that when you give electricity, or technically enough electrons, what happens to these zirconate crystals? They vibrate. And when they vibrate, what they are going to generate are ultrasonic waves. Understand that. So they are generating ultrasonic waves. Now, dependent upon the generation of the ultrasonic waves, let us place a barrier in the ultrasonic waves. So when a barrier is placed, what is happening to these ultrasonic waves? They are going down and they are coming back. They are coming back again. So they are going from the crystal, they are coming back to the crystal. So when they are coming back to the crystal, remember electrons made the wave. So when they come back to the crystal, electrons are generated. These electrons are carried on to your computer and your computer gives a signal. Okay. Have I made you understand up till this point? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. That means out of the signal, now tell me, I will have three colors with me. One is absolutely jet black. One is technically enough, again, more on the white side. And in between them, we have the various colors which are going to be like this. And sorry. Like this. Now, by this time, I hope you understand that the more white it is, what does it indicate? The more white a tissue is, that means what is the consistency of the tissue?
It's less.
It is solid. Very good. That means sound waves are reflecting back from the tissue. If it is absolutely black, what do you understand by this tissue?
Gaseous medium.
Very good. Or not
More rays
gaseous,
are reflected.
absolutely. That means it is air. Air will be jet black because air is not reflecting any wave. Okay. And if it is intermediate, that means it is like water containing tissues. Have I made you understand up till this? Okay. Now, what people consider is that, sir, not exactly, little bit of difference. So what I should mark is that water containing tissues will be more on this one. Maybe if it contains little more amount of calcium, maybe blood containing tissues will be like this. Maybe fat containing tissues will be like this. I'm increasing the complexity of your thought. Now with this gyan in mind, that means a single bottom line point is the more solid it is, the more whiter it is. Now with this background in mind, see a picture and then understand that what exactly is this. Now in your screens in front, I have an ultrasound of the neck. Now, can you see layer by layer? This is a picture from Bailey and Love. So this is for you to understand. Now, what is important is understand the picture first. See that at the center, there is something called as a T written. Okay, sorry. Have you seen this, that there is something called as a T that is written in this one? Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And what is the color around the T?
So black and
Black.
Why is it black around the T?
Air.
Because
Air.
Yes,
there is
intract.
air in the trachea. So very simple, sir. Simple to understand. But sir, now we are not happy, sir. Let us understand it from superficial to the deep. So let us come back from superficial to the deep. Now remember that the more is the calcium. Now what is fat made up of? I am asking a little amount of chemistry. Fat is made out of carbon and fat is made out of water.
Fatty acids, triglycerides.
Oh, again, sir, carbon and water, my chemistry is bad. So please pardon me on that. What are muscles made up of? Muscles are made out of protein, sand, and the most important part. The most important part is calcium, which is has a more atomic weight. Sir, definitely calcium. But what is very important is not only that, sir. Someone said nitrogen. That's very good. Sir, the amount of the blood supply will dictate what is exactly the calcium content. Now, calcium, as you know, is a heavy atom. So the more is the calcium, the more white is the color. So the more is the calcium, if the more white is the color, then tell me, I have magnified it for many, many times. Tell me, what is this layer, sir? What is the first layer that you encounter? Looks little black, this layer. Did you see the layer?
Skin.
Very good. So this is the skin. See how nice after today's class, you will learn radiology. This is the skin. Below the skin, there is something. What is this white colored layer? Platysma.
Platisma.
Wow. You see, you can identify the platysma. Wow. And then there is another black line. What is this black line?
Subcutaneous tissue.
No, not sir. It is the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. And after the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia, now we have a little amount of two muscles along with the white colored fat. That means we have this space and we have this space. But what is very important is that I hope you can recognize we have a structure like this. Can you see this black colored structure in front of your screens?
Yes.
Okay. This structure that I have shaded for you is the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Now the sternocleidomastoid muscle is appearing a little black because the blood supply on the sternocleidomastoid is not that great that you expect it to be. So this appears to be the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Okay, more or less has the same blood supply as that of the skin. Is good, but platysma has a better blood supply. But after that, the main content is not said that. The main interest for me is that maybe that there are other muscles like this could be the strap muscles. I'm not very sure of it. In a one section, it is difficult to comment. Okay, but what I am more interested is not to look into the strap muscle. I think you have seen these muscles, or it is better than to call that this is the muscles in the front of the neck. If I have said muscle, that's it. Very happy. But now what I am more interested is to look into something that my pencil can trace. What is the structure that I am trying to shade in front of you?
Thyroid gland.
Very good. Why is the thyroid
Thyroid
gland appearing more white?
It's a very highly vascular organ.
Because it is
Highly
highly
vascular.
vascular. And what is this part of the thyroid gland?
Isthmus.
Isthmus. And you can very beautifully see the two lobes, I hope. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, in this picture, understand that this appearance of the thyroid gland in relation to the surrounding muscle, so see the color of the thyroid gland in relation to the surrounding muscles and the structure is technically called as an isoechoic. That means it is equal to the rest of the surrounding structure. So a radiologist has, they have made some particular arrangements, and this kind of an arrangement is called as, so that means it is called as an isoechoic. Now, this part that is little bit of center area is more wide than this part. So this part can be said to be a bit hyperechoic. Okay, but we are not very worried with this one. But what is very hyperechoic in this is this structure. What is this structure?
Rings of
Tracheal
Very
rings.
good. Exactly. Very nice, sir. So by this time, I hope you have understood that there is something that is white in color. So if it is white in color, if the thyroid is to be considered as isoechoic, what will this be called as then? Hyperechoic. Now, can you tell me why are the tracheal rings hyperechoic?
because of the
They
presence
contain calcium.
Very good. Because they contain cartilages. So by this time, I hope all of you have understood with a working concept, how does the normal thyroid look like on an ultrasound? So please look into that this is the muscle. If you have identified up till this, I am very happy. If you have identified that this is one lobe, isthmus, this is another lobe, that's it. I am very happy. If you have identified up to this, I am happy. Can I proceed in that? So this is how an ultrasound of the thyroid looks like. Have I made you understand up till this?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Now,
Sir,
if this
blood
is
আর
very
স্যার
good.
ব্লাড আর ফ্যাটের মধ্যে কোনটা বেশি ব্ল্যাক হবে?
See, definitely fat, sir, because fat does not contain calcium.
তো স্যার
Right. But important part. Now, what he has asked is, he may be asking an important question. So please ask your question again in the break. Okay. What is very important is, behind the thyroid, there are two big black dots. They contain blood. So the obvious question is, why are they black? The reason for this is that this big black thing is the vein, the jugular vein, whereas the big red thing is the big red thing is the artery. Now, if you erase about this, and you may ask me, sir, why are they black in color? They should be white in color because they contain calcium.
Because
The
no
only,
way. Yeah.
the only answer to your question is, the circulation speed in these two structures are at such a rapid rate that they more or less treat it as water, and more or less they appear as a black one. Now, the velocity of the molecule or the atom, whatever you call that to be, is at such that it does not get that speed to reflect the waveform. So hence, blood vessels technically appear to be black, but blood containing tissues like liver, muscle, etc. appear to be white. So calcium needs to be static at one point. Okay, so guys, I took a long time in making you radiologists. Well, I did not intend to, but until and unless you understand this bit, it becomes very difficult for you to see the next of the category. Now we'll talk about these parts again. Now come to the next form of imaging. As I have said, after an ultrasound, the other imaging that we use is usually an X-ray. Now, when we talk about an X-ray, the thyroid does not contain calcium. Please mind you. So in this X-ray that you can see in your screens now, this is an X-ray from which part of the human body? The chest X-ray. And by this chest X-ray, what I learn a chest X-ray very quickly is by a rule called as A, B, C, D, E rule. How do I learn a chest X-ray? Now, please be with me, follow me, and then you will also read a chest X-ray very quickly in 1 minute. A stands for airway. Air is A. A is air. A for apple, A for anatomy, A for air. What is the color of air in an X-ray? Air is black. That means in this X-ray, okay, tell me what are the things that are black? Very simple, sir. This is a
Lung
black tube, and this is the blackness. So this blackness is that of the, what is this blackness, sir? This is the blackness of the lungs.
Lung.
But what is this black tube?
Trachea. Trachea.
Very good. Is the trachea. In this patient, there is a little problem with the trachea. Can you see what is the problem with the trachea?
Deviated.
Shift
Right.
towards the five.
Mediastinal
Very
shift.
good.
Deviated.
That means the normal human being, the trachea should be in the midline. If the trachea has been deviated to one side, like in this one, you can see the tube is deviated to one side. That obviously means there is something giving a dhakka to the trachea. If there is something that is giving a dhakka to the trachea, immediately we get to identify that there is something also by the side of the trachea which is giving a push to the trachea and it is coming from the neck to the chest. So what will be the structure that is coming from the neck to the chest?
Thyroid.
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 Is a very good, is a goiter. What kind of goiter that is coming from the chest to the
Retrosternal.
very good is called as a retrosternal goiter. So on a chest X-ray, remember the A stands for airway. You are going to look into that. Okay. What does B stand for? B quickly stands for bones. What bones? What is this bone that I'm trying to show? Clavicle, and you have all these ribs. Okay, very good. If you have done that, I'm very happy that you understood B is for bones. Then come to something called C. What does C stand for? Is the cardiac shadow. Okay, and the only thing that we do is that we see the maximum size of the chest and the size of the heart. So I will again explain what is A, airway, what is B, bones, what is C, what is C, what is C, what is C,
Cardiac shadow.
and how did I know that the heart is in tic-tac limit, normal limit? The maximum size of the heart, if it is X, should be less than half of the maximum size of the chest, Y. So X should be less than Y, or technically enough, half of X technically is equal to less, or again, so X should be less than Y. I'm not good in maths, so please remember that. That means the cardiac shadow, we can be maximum half of that of the chest shadow. What is D? Now D stands for
X will be less than half of Y.
half of the Y.
Or
X
equal.
will be less than half of Y. The next is, what is D? D is for the diaphragm. And finally, what is E? E is something extra that you could look. Like as in this patient, this part of the picture, which is above the level of the heart, I think you know what is this part of the heart called as?
Aortic knuckle.
Aortic.
This is
Unfolding of
called as
aorta.
the very good. So all of us know that, sir, this is the arch of the aorta, aortic knuckle. And these bones, we have already taught about bones, are called as clavicle. So, sir, this part of the thorax is called as superior mediastinum. So, if this is a superior mediastinum, what is the most common cause in which there is an expansion of the superior mediastinum? Is something that is coming from above downwards. So this is a common MCQ. What is the most common cause of a superior mediastinal mass? What is the most common cause of a superior mediastinal mass? Is a goiter or a retrosternal goiter. This comes as an MCQ. So by this time, by radiology, you have identified what are the common ultrasound, or you have known about an ultrasound, you have known about, or I have shown you pictures about a goiter. Okay. So can I proceed now? Have you understood this? This is a picture from Bailey Love. I took up this picture because this is a book that every one of you do have, and you can relate to this picture or understand this picture well. Have I made you understand up till this part?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes, as I have taught in the multinodular goiter, it is good to think about getting a better soft tissue picture by doing something called as a CT scan. And now in this picture, see again how beautifully you can see things. This is the lung, and this red blob that I'm going to make is the arch of the aorta. Okay. Now can you tell me what is this tube?
Trachea at the bifurcation. Tracheal bifurcation.
Very good. Interested, sir. If this is the trachea and the trachea has bifurcated out, what has happened to the trachea? What is the gandagol with the trachea?
The right trachea is more vertical generally, but here it has become horizontal.
Sir,
CT2
don't think
CT2.
about the bronchus. Don't think about the bronchus. Don't think about the bronchus. My question is very simple.
Sir, trachea চারপাশে একটা bloody mass
Can you
জমে গেছে।
can you see the trachea? Yes or no?
No,
No,
sir.
Can you see the trachea? No,
No, sir.
because
No, sir.
the trachea is black tube. What is this structure that is by the side of the trachea that is obliterating the anatomy of the trachea? Is a
Highly
thyroid.
vascular thyroid.
Very good. And if it is thyroid, now look at this picture. This is the lung. This is the aorta. Sorry. This is the aorta. But there is something else which is coming from above downwards. What is the structure that is coming from above downwards? This is technically an X-ray of something called as retrosternal goiter. Okay. So these are pictures for your MCQ exams. So please remember that these pictures are from Bailey and Love, so that you can understand these pictures for your exam purpose, and is extremely important for an exam and an MCQ exam to note these pictures. So we have discussed about CT scan. Can you tell me again, when is a CT scan done in a retrosternal goiter? What is the specific thing that you want to see on a CT scan of a retrosternal goiter?
Extension of the goiter.
And
Into,
compression
yes.
of what structure? Compression of what
Trachea.
structure? Trachea and the bronchus. Okay. This patient presented with a hoarseness of voice. This patient presented with a hoarseness of voice. Can you tell me what is the structure that can be compressed in the chest? Very good. It is recurrent laryngeal nerve. These are all things. I'm happy that you have known this. So we have seen by this time thyroid ultrasound is complete. We have seen chest X-ray. We have seen CT scans, which are imaging investigations. This, everyone, please remember, is the first part of the story. In investigation,
লাস্ট ইমেজটা খুলতে পারবেন? ডিটা একটু জুম করতে পারবেন? স্যার ডি ওই স্টারনামের ঠিক পেছনে যে ব্ল্যাক শ্যাডোটা, ওটা কিসের?
maybe a lung window, sir.
আর স্যার এখানে ট্রেকিয়াল শ্যাডোটা মানে অবলিটারেট করে গেছে গয়টারের জন্য।
Obviously, sir, you don't get to see the trachea. There is
আচ্ছা।
no tracheal shadow. The only thing that you do get to see is this tube, which is, do you know what is this tube?
ব্রঙ্কাস
So the bifurcation.
This is the bronchus or the
Bronchus.
bifurcation of the bronchus. Okay.
থ্যাংক ইউ
Chalo. Now let us go to the next group of tests, something called as an FNAC, and let us write a short note on FNAC of the thyroid. I think FNAC has been taught in pathology, so my job is to give a short note on FNAC of thyroid. Not too many amount of MCQs are there in this area, but couple of them do come, so it is good enough to know about this part. So we'll start with FNAC thyroid for a short note, and then I think we'll have a break. Now, when you talk about an FNAC of the thyroid, first of all, those who have seen or those who have not seen an FNAC, remember that points to be written. It is the other synonym is, that means other name for an FNAC is needle biopsy, aspiration biopsy, of thyroid. So these are the synonym. Okay, right. The method that is used is a 25 gauge needle, maximum 23 gauge needle is used. Common knowledge, the more the size of the needle increases, the needle becomes more fine. That means a 18 gauge needle will look like this. You say, oh my God, itna mota. A 20 gauge needle will be looking like this. A 22 will be looking like this. 24 will be looking like this. 26 more fine needles. So that means for you to remember, I drew this picture so that you can remember this part, that FNACs, the more the size of the needle increases, the needle becomes more thinner or more patla. Next one, the FNAC is done by this. The stain that is used in FNAC is usually a Giemsa stain. Okay. The next part of this is, what is the use in thyroid? What is the use in thyroid? Point number one, the use in thyroid is the accuracy of an FNAC is greater than 95%. That means in 95% of the cases, it can tell you what is what. The diagnosis that can be done, achieved includes papillary cancer, medullary cancer. Both of them are extremely important for an MCQ purpose. Please mind it with a golden color. What is the telltale sign in a papillary cancer? MCQ in pathology is something called as orphan Annie eye nucleus. One line, please, for all of you, this is one single line that is asked in MCQs and Vivas uniformly. If you are unable to say this, things will get difficult. Please remember this. Papillary cancer, what is the FNAC diagnostic sign? Orphan any eye nucleus. What is that? We are not going to learn today. Medullary cancer, what is the diagnostic sign? I need a word. The answer is amyloid. बस, that's it. और कुछ नहीं है डॉक्टर साहब, और कुछ नहीं है चाहिए मुझे. I need you to say this can be done with पक्का diagnosis. Number 3, a colloid nodule. By this time you know what is a colloid nodule. We'll talk about this again later. Okay, so diagnosis that can be done. Diagnosis that cannot be done. नहीं कर सकते हम लोग. We cannot do this. Is to differentiate between a follicular cancer and a follicular adenoma. We cannot distinguish this by an FNAC. Reason we are not going to talk today. When we'll talk about the rest, then we'll be talking about this again. But what is important is, this is extremely important MCQ again. So please remember this thing. You cannot diagnose an follicular cancer versus follicular adenoma. They are commonly reported by the pathologist as a follicular neoplasm. Okay? Have I made you understand up till this? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Good. Have you written up till this?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Good. If you have written up till this, I am happy. Then the next, I am gradually increasing your level of difficulty, level of knowledge. Remember that what is the quality of your FNAC came as in PGI Chandigarh MCQ once. You must be wondering, so small a topic, itna MCQ kyun aata hai? Because this is so important a topic. The quality of your FNAC in the thyroid is done by minimum 6 aspiration. 6 mane 06 aspiration. And if you are a pathologist, each aspiration has to contain 20 cells. So common sense suggests that ultrasound guided aspiration is better, because ultrasound tells you which area will be better to take the material from. So 6 aspirations, each containing 20 cells. By the way, what is the stain that I said?
Giemsa stain. It
was started by, I do not say invented by, FNACs were started by which hospital? Any idea? Someone that gives a Nobel Prize. The Karolinska Institute in Sweden. So this comes as an MCQ in pathology. Who started an FNAC? Remember, by Karolinska Institute in this. Now, reporting of an FNAC. How to report an FNAC? The reporting of an FNAC, please remember, goes by 2 modalities. I'm going to show you a picture. This is a picture from Bailey Lab. This is a picture from one book. I hope you can see the picture. Okay. Now, this technique, what is the operator doing in what? What is the technician doing? What is the technician doing in this one?
Fixing the mass.
He is fixing the mass. Okay. And if this is the left hand, this is the right hand. What is this device called as? You will get to see in your pathology classes. What is this device? This is called as, not FNAC gun, sir. It is called as plunger. This is the syringe of taking an FNAC. So please remember that. What is the needle size, MCQ? What is the needle used for an FNAC? 25 gauge. Good one. You have done many MCQs today. Now, how to report an FNAC? The first one that I will tell you is something given in Bailey Love, and hence very important to talk about in an exam. But some MCQs have come in old times, not that important, but please write this part. This is called as the Thai classification. People in MCQ world gave this MCQ 10 years back. They do not give it now anymore. What is a Thai one? What is a Thai one? Please write this table. What is a Thai one? What is Thai one? Non-diagnostic. That means कुछ नहीं हुआ डॉक्टर साहब, फिर से कीजिए, कुछ नहीं हुआ, रिजल्ट नहीं मिला मुझे, फिर से कीजिए. Thai 1C, non-diagnostic cystic. Okay, that means if it is non-diagnostic, can you tell me how to improve the next diagnostic yield? Anything better that you can do in the next part? How to do
USG guidance.
USG guided.
USG
Very
guided.
good. Is an USG guidance. What is Thai 2? Non-neoplastic. Non-neoplastic matlab benign. Okay. We are very happy. Thai 3. Follicular. Follicular adenoma or carcinoma? What is your opinion, sir? Follicular adenoma or carcinoma? Can you
Adenoma.
distinguish?
Cannot differentiate.
Tell you,
Follicular neoplasm.
follicular neoplasm. Is it adenoma or carcinoma? What is your opinion? What will
Cannot
be diagnosed? We cannot diagnose. Very good. What is Thai 4? Suspicious of cancer. What is Thai 5? Cancer. Have you written this? Have you completed this part? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Completed,
No,
no?
sir.
This is from Bailey Love.
Can you
This is-
repeat? So can you
let us
repeat that
repeat.
follicular part? Neoplasm.
Follicular pub. Okay. So
AC.
if it is Thai 3, okay, what is AC? A is adenoma, C is follicular carcinoma. Can your FNAC distinguish between follicular adenoma or carcinoma? Can your FNAC report tell you it is on follicular adenoma or carcinoma?
Neoplasm. It is
Like it
reported
did,
as
sir.
it cannot be. So remember that papillary cancer, medullary cancer can be diagnosed by FNAC. Follicular adenoma, carcinoma cannot be diagnosed by an FNAC.
Okay, sir.
Have you completed writing this?
Sir, what's the difference between Thai 1 and Thai 1C?
Sir, non-diagnostic means what came out in your chamber is nothing, dry material. कुछ नहीं मिला आपको. What is Thai 1C? What came out is little water, sir. पानी निकला है और कुछ नहीं निकला है. And you say, oh my God, we did not get the result. The surgeon is asking you, Doctor साहब ये क्या है? कुछ है यहाँ पे? Tumor है नहीं है? So please remember that is Thai 1C. Okay. Have you understood up till this part?
Yes.
Hello. Good.
Yes, sir.
Good to proceed. Can I proceed now?
Sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, please
Yes,
reserve
sir.
your questions for the break.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Now, the Americans try to be more objective. So the Americans divided the FNAC findings. Probably this is, I do not know whether you are taught this in pathology or not. Were you taught this thing in pathology? I am teaching you pathology and radiology today. Were you taught this thing in pathology? Yes, sir. No. Not nice, sir. You should have been taught this. This is what we as clinicians use. Okay. So what the pathology reporting of an FNAC is done, not only in thyroid, in breast, in other tissues also, is something that goes by the name of a new term that I'm making you learn today. That was the Thai classification. What is this type of an FNAC finding called as?
Bethesda classification.
It is called as the Bethesda classification. Please understand the Bethesda classification. What is this Bethesda story? Bethesda 1. What is the meaning of Bethesda 1? Non-diagnostic or unsatisfactory. That means you are not happy with the FNAC result. You need a diagnosis, man. You need an answer. You do not have an answer. So what is the thing that you are going to do for that patient? क्या करेंगे आप डॉक्टर साहब? If your FNAC, repeat FNAC, but with what? Exactly.
Guidance.
Repeat FNAC with what guidance? With an
USG guidance.
ultrasound guidance. So please remember, repeat FNAC with an ultrasound guidance. What is Bethesda 2? Bethesda 2 is benign. That means the patient came with a goiter. You did an FNAC and the FNAC came to be Bethesda 2. Patient is very happy because what are you advising this patient for? What are you advising this patient for? Is it clinical follow-up? No operation, no operation, no operation. Clinical follow-up. What is Bethesda 3? Bethesda 3 stands for two terms: atypia of unknown significance, okay, or follicular lesion of unknown significance. So what is AUS? Atypia of an unknown significance. What is FLUS? Follicular lesion of an unknown significance. That means you say that, sir, I do not know. Is it an adenoma or is it a carcinoma? Is it an adenoma? Is it a carcinoma? Hello? Is it an adenoma? Is it a carcinoma?
Can't
Neoplasm.
tell.
Neoplasm.
No, I do not know. I do not know. So what is the treatment that I do? Repeat FNA, or if you think it could be a tumor or a cancer, then what is the treatment that I have advised? What is the treatment that I have advised, sir? It is take out the lobe, go for a lobectomy. Okay. Bethesda 4 is a follicular neoplasm. FN stands for follicular neoplasm or a solitary follicular neoplasm. Follicular neoplasm. What is the treatment? Do not take a chance. Go for a lobectomy. I hope you know what is a lobectomy. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Right? Good.
Yes.
What is Bethesda 5? Suspicious of cancer. Oh my God, now you are thinking cancer. So what is the minimum operation in a Bethesda 5? What is the minimum operation in a Bethesda 5? Minimum is lobectomy. But what is the preferred operation maybe? Na rahegi baans, na banegi bansuri. What is Bethesda 6? Cancer. And what is the treatment for cancer that I have taught you?
Total thyroid.
Yes, total thyroidectomy. Okay. This table, have you written down this table, or if you want to take a snapshot, please do. Have you completed this table? শ্যামলদা
sir.
কখন ব্রেক হবে বলে দিও। শ্যামলদা কখন ব্রেক হবে বলে দিও।
Sir, what is SFN?
Solitary follicular neoplasm. Okay. 5 minute break. So have I made you understand up till this?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Has
sir.
everyone written up till has everyone written up till this?
Yes, sir.
Good. This is a table from your book called as the Saviston 21st, the latest edition of Saviston, which many books and libraries do not still have them yet. But your MCQ world, in your MCQ tenure, you are going to have this as your background reference for all things. So this table that you have seen, this is from the Bailey 27th and this is from the SABI 21. So this is what you are required to know. Can you tell me what is the equivalent to Thigh 4 in a Bethesda?
5.
Bethesda 5.
Bethesda 5. Beautiful, man. What is the equivalent of Thai 3 in Bethesda?
Bethesda 4.
Very good. It is Bethesda 4. Very nice. Okay. So please remember this. Now tell me, which one do you think is better, Bethesda or Thai? Well,
Bethesda.
maybe
Bethesda.
Bethesda. So we as clinicians, we nowadays are if you ask your pathology teachers, they are going to tell you more about the Bethesda. So has everyone written up till this? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Have you completed up till this? Good. So if you have completed up till this, we take a so we are ready to take the break. But before we take the break, I think we have had discussions about goiter. We have had classifications of the goiter. So we are now, we have reporting of the FNAC is done. So just in a minute. So let us start about terminology of the goiter, and then we'll take a quick break for 5 minutes. Terminology of goiter. Okay. Now, when you start with terminologies of goiter, let us have it very simply done. So first of all, when you talk about a goiter, okay, let us have things very clearly understood, or nodules. Either the patient is toxic or non-toxic. Which group is more important? Definitely toxic is less important, non-toxic is more important. Please understand that is the first and the basic understanding, because patients with toxicosis mane hyperthyroidism or thyrotoxicosis, whatever name you give this to be, more or less they are the same things. This group, remember, the chance of having a cancer is less than 1%. Hence, I am not that interested in this group. Patient is not going to die because of a cancer. Patient can die because of a heart failure. That is a different story. But this group is this. This group in non-toxic, remember that the range of a cancer can range from 5% to up to 25%. So please understand, this is not at all a very funny thing. The incidence of cancer in a non-toxic goiter can be 5% to 25%. Now 5 to 25 is not a small data. So with this, the first one in a goiter example is very simple. What if both the lobes are enlarged? What is this condition called as? And the surface is smooth.
Diffuse.
This is called as a diffuse,
Non-toxic goiter.
smooth, non-toxic. We are in the non-toxic group, goiter. Commonly called as colloid goiter. Commonly called as simple goiter. Whereas on the other side, if the same thing happens, the goiter is uniform, smooth, it is diffuse goiter, but it is toxic. Then tell me, what is this thing called as?
Grapes.
That's it. Very good. With this, guys, take a 5 minutes break. We come by 2:35 and then start with nodularities. Okay. Take a quick break, and in the